Hey, it looks like I'm alive. So this is going to be a behind the scenes look at where I create. And my space is a very inexpensive space. I think you're going to be impressed when you see the humbleness of it and the results I get. I'm pretty proud of that. I'm cheap. I don't spend a lot of money, even on my craft, and I do pretty well. So I wish I could turn this camera around, but I don't see how to do it using StreamYard on the phone. I don't think. No, that's just on and off. So I'll just have to turn the camera around, which is a bummer. And so what you see, first of all, let's take a look at the video setup, the live streaming setup. When I do my broadcasts, I have a very small space, but I've studied the lighting a lot. The lighting is very important. And I see a lot of people doing half-baked live streams. And I don't know why, because it's so easy to have a cool background using a green screen and maximize the quality of your presence online, because really that's the only presence I have now. So what we see now behind me is just a cloth hanging up. It costs $25, and it's hanging up from bungee cords that are screwed into the wall. So there's an eye hook in the wall, then a bungee cord, and the green screen. That's the green screen I use. Now, as for lighting, I'm going to have to try to. I used to have ring lights, but they sucked. So now I got these $12 lights from the hardware store. And with a combination of positioning them, I just clamp them to the top of my monitor. In the middle one is a 100-watt bulb, and the two outside ones, 60-watt bulbs, LED, so they don't get hot. Then on the sides, I have white cardboard, just white cardboard. So the light from these reflects. And it turns out that in my space, there's a white ceiling. So it turns out that in my space, that's all you need. You don't need any fancy ring lights and stuff like that. So now I'm going to try to show you the rest of my equipment. The rest of the equipment really is for sound and making of music and video. We'll go with the music first. I just have, to create the music, a keyboard, which is cheap. It's a Yamaha piano. You can get them cheap online. And a guitar. We have the Gibson Studio. There it is. That's not expensive either. It's a cheap Gibson. Used. I got it used. I traded for I had a Fender Strat 40th anniversary. I thought I was a Strat person, but I'm just not. I love this guitar. And rather than buy new guitars, I'd rather spend a few bucks keeping this one in fantastic condition. I get the platinum tune-up at, where is it? Guitars? No, over by Berkeley. What is it? Daddy's Junkie Music? Whatever that place is over there by Berkeley on Mass Ave. So guitar and keyboard. That's that. Those are the music making devices. Now, let's turn around and take a look at kind of the hardware. I have good headphones. These are, I don't like them that much. Since you don't mix with headphones ever, you don't need good headphones. Probably Sony, the ones that fold up that a lot of DJs use, they're $99. That's probably what I'd recommend. Then a microphone. There are all kinds of microphones people use. This is the FM7B. I mean the Shure SM7B, I think. Standard, not really expensive. Got my MacBook Pro with a monitor. It's nice to have a lot of real estate when you're doing video or audio. Then a couple of cool things. In order for me to see and show you at the same time. Okay, this is a key thing. This is an interface. This is an Apogee Duet, just has 2 ins and 2 outs. But you can get it one by Focusrite. I think it's called the Scarlett. And that is what you plug your guitar. This plugs into the computer with USB. And then you plug your guitar, your keyboard into that. So you can plug your 1/4-inch guitar lead in there or whatever. And that has headphones, and it also has outs to the speakers. And then one thing that I have is pretty cool is this thing right here. This was only like $60, but it's cool because it allows you to switch between 2 sets of speakers. So both my speakers, so my output from the interface comes into this, and then out are 2 sets of speakers, and they're both cheap speakers. And this allows me to A and B between which speakers without having to futz around. Also, if I hit some feedback or something and you freak out, it's going squeal. You ever have that happen? And you're trying to think, what should I do? You just hit mute. Boom. And so there you go. Mostly this is just to be able to switch back and forwards between 2 sets of speakers, which is important. Now I'm going to show you the speakers. Also, not expensive. I have 2 sets of speakers. These are Rocket 6 inches. And then these are just small mid-range speakers only with a cardboard driver, just like old times. Just a cardboard driver, one. There's not a tweeter and a woofer. It's just one driver. And the idea is that it just does mid-range. And if you can do, if you mix on mid-range, that's where most of the energy in a song is. That's most of the busyness is. Not, I shouldn't say the energy, because most of the energy is in the bass. But we don't want to mess with the bass when we're mixing all the other stuff. So we just want to hear mostly the mid-range. And so you mix on these. Then when you get it right on these, you get it sounding good on these. Then you listen on the bigger ones, and you just add or subtract the bass that you want, and both quantity and the type and the amount. It's funny. These sound super tinny and weird at first, but you get used to them. It's like listening on an old car radio. And that's basically it. External hard drive. You want an external hard drive because you're going to generate so many files, so many megabytes and gigabytes that your computer will get crammed up. So a microphone, an interface, really, if you want to get started making music, an instrument, a microphone, an interface, speakers, and a computer. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing it without an interface. And in the future, I'm going to actually do a tutorial on Logic Pro that I use. I'm not going to do a big fancy tutorial. I'm going to do my style of tutorial. And I'm going to do a tutorial on that, on Logic 10 or Logic X and Final Cut Pro. And I wanted to recommend something. Hi, Ken. Your mic goes into your interface of a real mixer. No. Well, no. Not a real mixer. All the mixers, the mixer is part of the software. Matter of fact, I can show you right now, I think. Let me fire this up. This is not a tutorial, but I'll just show you. I'm going to open Logic Pro and just fire up a session that I'm working on right now. Let me put it on the big screen here. No, I'll keep it on. Yeah, good. Oh, there it is. All right, you're not going to see me very much. Now, so this is a session, I hope you can see it, that I'm working on now. And each of these things here is a track, if you will. Here are my drums. You can, all the drums are brown, keyboards, green and orange, guitars, yellow. And this is so much, I won't explain it now, but you wanted to know if the keyboard goes into the mixer, a real mixer. Nope. Over here, where it says there's a button for input. I don't see it now, but you choose input 1 or input 2. And since this only has 2 inputs, it's you assign either the mic or an instrument or whatever. If you have your mic plugged into input 2, then you assign input 2 here. And when you play it, you'll see it fire up on the screen. But I'm not going to. Any other questions? Oh, it's a couple of people. Sorry, it's a software mixer. Oh yeah. Well, actually, that's not a mixer. There are different views. Let me show you. You can open the mixer window. Watch this. Boom. Open the mixer. So you have your different views. These are the channels. And if I start to play it, you won't hear it because the speaker's on. But it's kind of fun to see the faders move and stuff. And this is how they make, this is how they do it now. If the Beatles were going to record now, it'd probably be on a program just like this. Now, some people use other programs, and different programs are good for different things. This one's good for making music fast. There are other programs that are good for editing audio, chopping up audio, which is what you do on the radio a lot. But I'm not on the radio, and I won't get into more of what that does. When I do the tutorial, I will actually I will do a broadcast from the computer, using the computer, and I will screen share. So it'll be a much more professional thing. I don't want to do it now because I don't want to get you all confused. But this is my little space. What else is there to see? Well, there's my hookah. We got that in Cairo. No, I got it in Luxor. I've used it many a time. Oh, one note on your room and sound deadening. Corners are your enemy. Corners are bad. Fill up your corners with something. It doesn't have to be expensive. The stuff you buy in the store is wicked expensive. Feather pillows are a great, great thing to use because your corners are bass traps, and the feathers in pillows, the thousands of little feathers in pillows, diffuse the bass energy. And I guess that's the best way to put it. And on flat surfaces, you don't want to have lots of big, flat, expansive surfaces. So I try to break it up. And there you go. Rugs help a lot. Now, they don't help much with the bass, but they do help with the treble. So this room, believe it or not, is now pretty good. Whoa, I got to sit up straight, huh? I have such terrible posture. It makes my gut look terrible. Trust me, I'm in pretty good shape. All right. So that's it. I just wanted to let you know, I guess, basically, that if you ever thought about making music, it's very doable. Most of the stuff I have, Logic is like $2.99, which is crazy cheap for what it does. Chances are, if your computer is fast enough to run it, you would need an external hard drive because there won't be enough space on your computer for all the files you generate. I have the I have the program itself on the computer, on the system drive, and then my projects and stuff live on external drives. But that's standard. And what else? Oh, just one pair of cowboy boots. Nobody ever sees them because I don't go anywhere, but I might as well show you these babies. These are bad boys. They have that, see that way that toe curls up? I love that. These are heritage boots. Got them from Rick Walker's. Like everything else I have, well, most of what I have, it's used or vintage. Robert Walker, where did you buy it? Which thing you talking about, Robert? Where did I buy which? What? The speakers? Well, I buy most everything hardware stuff on Amazon because it's easy. I know it's a big, scary, big, bad company, but the customer service is so fantastic. And, when you buy stuff elsewhere, you got to type all your information in again. And I don't know, every time you type more information in, I feel like your information's a little more vulnerable. What did you want to know where I bought? The program, Logic, that you got to get it at Apple. That's very easy. Boom, it's a download. Boom. You pay your money and they send you it and you download it and you install it and you walk through it. And you don't really need, if you just want to say sing and play a guitar, hookah. How did I say it wrong? Pronounce hookah again. Hookah again. So if you're talking about Logic, Robert, the Apple Store. And do you really need the interface to get started? If you just want to play guitar and sing, no. If you just want to play keyboard and sing, no. Because you can play your keyboard into one track, and you can do that with USB out of most keyboards. And Logic comes with a bunch of synthesizers. So you don't even really need an organ or anything. For $100, you can get a little, it's called a controller. It's just a keyboard that tells the software, piano or synthesizers, what to do. All the guts and the music is in the software. The keyboard just plays the thing. So you can get that for $100 if you want to play keyboard into it. There are all kinds of tutorials on YouTube. And you can get a USB mic that plugs right into the computer. So really, just with Logic and a microphone, a USB mic, you can make music. Of course, you need an instrument. That would either be maybe a guitar or any instrument you can play into a microphone. You could do that on one track, and then you make another track, and you sing along with that. You can do that endlessly. If you have a bass guitar, you play a bass in there, play a keyboard in there, and it'll keep you busy. I can't say enough good things about the tutorials on YouTube, but I really recommend LinkedIn Learning, which used to be lynda.com. They have about, I think, 4,500 courses, and they have a really good course on Final Cut and a really good course on Logic. Teach you all you need to know. But in addition to that, if you buy it annually, it's only $19 a month, and I think you can take unlimited courses. For $19 a month, you can get so smart in the stuff you want to get smart in. That's LinkedIn Learning now because LinkedIn bought it. I just finally figured out how I can watch it on TV with screen sharing. But you don't need it. You can watch it just on your computer. So bare bones, if you wanted to get started, you buy Logic, a computer, a computer, and a USB mic, and your instrument. And if you want to play keyboard, you can use the software synthesizers in the program and just control them or play them with a controller, keyboard controller. M Audio makes a fine one. Casio, I don't know if Casio still makes them, but M Audio was up until 10 years ago kind of a standard of pretty good quality, cheap stuff. I used M Audio speakers for a while. As far as speakers go, you can just use whatever speakers you have, really, if you have some speakers. But if you wanted to get speakers, the big bang for the buck, I think, is Rockit, Rockit. If you're serious about it, the 6-inch woofer, if you just, you can get the 5-inch woofer if you want. I wouldn't go much smaller than that. But if you look up Rockit, especially used, super, good quality for the money. Okay. Built-in accent, hookah. Right. It's not hooker. It's not, it's not hooker, built-in accent. Yeah, it's a word made for the Boston dude to say, Lou. That's right. Okay. GarageBand. Good question. Never used it. Don't know why. Don't know why. Why bother? Go for it. And why be limited? I mean, if you really want to make this a hobby, if this is going to be your thing, then don't mess around. Get Logic and learn how to use it. When you look at it, you can freak out and say, oh my God. But basically, it goes like this. Create a new project, create a track, either an audio track or a soft synthesizer track, and record into it, play it back. Then create another track and record along with that first track, and on and on and on. There are so many things you can do. There are drum machines in there. There are a billion loops. You can just drag one into a track and play along with that. You can drag drums in there. There are probably 3 ways to do the drums. But we all need something to keep our brains cooking, right? In this time of stupidity that we live in. People don't speak correctly. We're just getting dumb as hell. So do yourself a favor and learn something. Logic is a good thing to learn. You'd think that making videos would be harder and more complicated. No, Logic is a little more complicated. It is tricky to get a song to sound right. I mean, if you really want to get into it, the mixing is tricky business. But if you only have 3 or 4 tracks, you don't have to worry about it. But when you get, 20, 22, 30 tracks, it gets way too busy in there. And everything has to have its place. The place can be, it has to have its own sonic space in terms of where it is, to the right or the left, the high or the low. Every frequency needs its own space. There's a lot of tutorials on that. So that's all for today. This is just to let you know that it's doable. For a lot of stuff in my life I didn't do because I just didn't get it. Like the first step. But once you could take the first step, like listening to me now, I can do that. I'm sure you could. So before you even buy it or think about buying it, go to YouTube and just find a beginner to Logic tutorial for a half an hour. And you don't let them outcomplicate you, because that can all come later. Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. Sorry about, it would have been much better if I could have turned the camera around, but it turns out in this situation, I'm not able to do that. If I'd gone live to Facebook only instead of StreamYard, I probably could have done that. Ken Winokur. That's how you say it, right, Ken? Not Winokur. I mean, let's face it. I want to say Winokur, but I bet that's not it. Actually, it's probably, hey, Winokur, right? Hey, Winokur. That's how they say it. Winokur, get over here. Hey, Winokur, shut up. right? With that, okay. Lou, Robert Walker, Bobby Levine, and Wayne Greenside. Okay, this is probably the one and only time you'll ever see behind the scenes like this. So I hope you learned. I hope you dug it. Dug it, dug it, dug it. Do me a favor and follow me on Facebook. I've neglected trying to get people to follow me on Facebook, but I should get some more. Put me over the 5,000 mark, will you? On the Jay Talking page. It's embarrassing.